Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ty, and this is Reality Table Talk. I'm here to share my thoughts and opinions on the latest episodes of the reality shows we all love to watch. Now, my thoughts are my thoughts, and the reviews I share are from my perspective. But I can guarantee that at least a few of us are thinking the same things while we're watching these shows. If you're here for the first time, welcome to my channel. And if you're a return viewer, thank you so much for joining me again. Y'all, I am here with a brand new review for a show that just premiered this week over on TLC. It's part of the 90 Day universe called 90 Day The Hunt for Love. This show features singles who were on 90 Day Fiancé or some iteration of that show whose relationships just did not pan out. So they are all single and they have been brought to this resort to find love. If you are familiar with 90 Day Fiancé and people that have been on that show, then you will recognize a few of these faces. Some of them you will love, some of them you may not love so much, but they are here, y'all, on this show, and they will be mingling with other singles to try to see if they can find their match. So this show starts off with Chantel. Chantel is 33 from Atlanta. She's the first to arrive to this resort, and she says the dating pool has piss in it. And baby, I can attest to that. There's piss, there's ish, there's dirty diapers, okay? All of the sewage is in the dating pool today. She's been in her whole phase the last 3 years and says she's been duty dating, meaning she's going on dates even when she doesn't want to, throwing things up the wall to see what sticks. She is looking for love. She wants her happy ending, and she's excited to see what happens. Now, at the age of 33, Chantel imagined that she'd be married with kids by now. Unfortunately, her marriage with her previous partner, Pedro, ended. And y'all, it ended terribly. So we get a flashback scene to when she first picked up Pedro from the airport on 90 Day Fiancé. We see a glimpse of their wedding, of the time Pedro and River, Chantel's younger brother, got into a physical altercation during a family dinner, of the time when Pedro told Chantel he was moving out and Chantel telling him that's the first step to divorce, and the heartbreaking scene of Chantel crying. She was completely devastated on their spinoff series, The Family Chantel, saying that she trusted her husband because he said he would not leave her. She has not yet found her groove in the dating world, and she's hoping to make a connection with someone at this resort. The next single to arrive is Tiffany. She is 33 from Frederick, Maryland, and life has been good for her. She's recently lost 120 pounds, y'all, and she looks fabulous. She says the weight loss has been super exciting, and y'all, I can absolutely relate. As someone who's had bariatric surgery and has lost a large amount of weight, y'all, I know how that can bring you a renewed sense of confidence. The one area of Tiffany's life she'd like to change is her love life. She's been single for 3 years, and she describes herself as being more than just single. She says she's super effing single. Child, if I could describe myself as a single, I'd put it like this. You know how there's like different terms to describe how overweight someone is? Like there's overweight, obese, morbidly obese, and super morbidly obese. Well, y'all, I'm like the super morbidly obese is single, okay? I'm super morbidly single. Yay, me. Tiffany says she knows there will be dating coaches available to guide her throughout this process, and she admits that maybe she does need a little help in this area. She says she's only had one significant relationship, which was with the man she eventually married, and she's learned a lot from that experience. And because of this, she won't label the marriage a mistake. She does say that the relationship is not anything she would have wanted for herself long term. We get a flashback clip of Tiffany from her time on 90 Day Fiancé the other way, marrying her ex-husband, Ronald. Of them with the baby girl they shared together, Carly. Of Ronald arriving to pick Tiffany, Carly, and Tiffany's son, Daniel, up from the airport. Of them arguing and Ronald telling Tiffany it was her job to change the baby's dirty diapers. And if Tiffany telling Ronald during another heated exchange that if she's being mistreated, she's leaving, and him telling her she can go on back to America, and she's saying her marriage is over. Now, she's coming to this resort with no expectations. She knows there will be other 90 Day cast members there, along with other singles who have never appeared on the show. And although she's hoping to find her man, she's curious as to what this experience is going to be like for her. Tiffany goes to check in, and she is surprised to see Chantel. Tiffany and Chantel have chatted via social media, but this is the first time they're meeting in person. So Tiffany is so happy to see a familiar face and someone who shares the experience of being on the show and having a difficult marriage. But she's taken aback by how gorgeous Chantel is. Tiffany, my dear, you are not anyone to sleep on either, girl. You are stunning. Tiffany's heart is beating out of her chest. She's so nervous, but Chantel feels they are lucky to be there, and she believes they're going to have so much fun. Y'all, we shall see about that. The next 90 Day cast member to arrive is Rob. Rob is 35 from Los Angeles, California, and Rob wants to believe in the possibility of having a soulmate. And y'all, I just truly believe that Rob is in love with the notion or the idea of being in love. Rob says he's been looking for his love and doesn't want to sit back and wait, so he's ready to go get it. He remembers his first kiss. He remembers developing crushes and wondering if that person was the one. And y'all, when he shot his shot and got married, unfortunately, that marriage didn't last. So we get his flashback montage, seeing him pick up his ex-wife, Sophie, from the airport once she's arrived in the U.S. And y'all, if you watched his season of 90 Day Fiancé, then you'll remember the little dance and song number he performed for Sophie at the airport. Y'all, it was a hot mess. Sweet, maybe, but also very, very cringe. We see a bit of Rob and Sophie's wedding. Then we see Sophie and Rob arguing. She was throwing a squishmallow at him and kicking him out of her friend's apartment that she was staying at during one of their many, many separations. We see a memory of them having another heated exchange during their time on the most recent season of 90 Days Last Resort, and of them on decision day of the last resort when Sophie tells Rob that she loves him, but that they're just not good together. Now, Rob and Sophie aren't yet legally divorced, and Rob feels this could be a problem here, but if he can avoid talking about all of that, he will. So now Rob is getting all checked in when a beautiful woman by the name of Johanna arrives to welcome him to this resort. Johanna is the event coordinator, and she brought Rob a masquerade mask to wear at the singles mixer party taking place that night, as well as his invitation. When Rob initially saw Johanna, y'all, his eyes got so big, okay? He was like, wow. It's like he was eating her up with his eyes. And he was wondering, is she one of the singles? Baby, Rob was ready to get the party started right then and there, okay? He says Johanna is hot, and if she's this pretty, he's curious about how beautiful the actual singles are. And now he believes there could definitely be someone there for him. Rob reads the invitation, and it specifically states that the mask is required. He says this is some Illuminati-ish. The next 90 Day single we see is Usman. Usman is 35 from Kaduna, Nigeria. And y'all, he is already in his room taking a swim in his little private pool and whatnot. Usman says he's there to find love. And if it happens, amen, inshallah. Now, Usman may be a little full of himself here because he believes he has an advantage over the other men that will be there because he's African. And then he goes into the stereotypical bag saying that all African men have big man parts, if you know what I'm saying. He also believes he has an advantage because he's an African recording artist who performs under the name Soulja Boy. So women throw themselves at him. However, he also believes those women only want him because of his fame. He wants to meet someone who wants Usman the man, not Soulja Boy the artist. We get Usman's flashback montage of his time with his then fiancée, Kimbali, y'all, aka Kimberly. If you watch the show, then you know he pronounced her name Kimberly. And they were on 90 Day Fiancé. She was actually a fan of his music, and they met via social media. She's also 18 years his senior. We see when Kimberly bought his engagement ring, when she proposed to him, when they got into an argument while meeting Usman's friend for drinks because he questioned her about her willingness to allow him to have a second wife. She threw a drink in his face, and we get a snippet of the scene when they ended their engagement. Now, Usman is Muslim, so it is customary for him to be able to have multiple wives in his religion in his country. Usman does not have any children, and he wants to have 2 or 3 kids. He says he cannot get with another older woman. He attempted to compromise with Kimberly about allowing him to have a younger second wife so that he can have a child, but now he is not willing to compromise at all. Now, he knows there will be other 90 Day cast members at this resort. He just doesn't want to see Big Ed or Angela. Y'all, I don't want to see Big Ed or Angela either. Usman, I am 1,000% with you there. I think we've all had enough of both Big Ed and Angela to last 17 lifetimes. He doesn't want to deal with their drama, and baby, I don't want to watch their drama. I'm sick of their drama, child. Chantel and Tiffany go check out their casitas, which are actually really nice. It's a huge upgrade from the accommodations the cast of the 90 Day Last Resort had in Arizona. Tiffany has a hammock on her patio, along with her own private pool. Then we see Rob check into his casita, which has 2 beds for some reason. Back in Tiffany's casita, she notices a masquerade mask lying on her bed and reads her invite. And Chantel tells her, "Girl, you know what? This is probably our reward for surviving our crazy ass marriages." So after that, y'all, we are taken to the singles mixer on the beach, where there are women dancing with LED wings draped over their shoulders, and the beach is lit up with candles and blue, purple, and green lights, y'all. It's so pretty. Usman walks up first with his mask on, saying that this reminds him of Eyes Wide Shut. Y'all, that movie with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, that movie where everyone wears masks to this secret party that turns out to be a hookup party. Usman is now wondering, is this going to be like that? Oh my, what is going to happen? And Usman, sir, go ahead and have several seats. This is not Temptation Island, okay? Wrong show, buddy. Usman isn't sure what's going to go down, but whatever happens, he is game for it all. He's looking around to see who all is there and says he sees a lot of beautiful body shapes, but that's it because everyone is wearing a mask. There are other singles there, so Usman starts making his rounds and introducing himself. Tiffany and Chantel show up next, and neither of them recognize anyone there, but they cheers to finding their new men. Rob is next to arrive, and he says he's nervous. It's also hard for him to take a sip of his drink with that mask on, and I'm thinking, buddy, why don't you just try a straw? Like, hello, Rob, are you there? A straw would have solved that problem real quick, fast, and in a hurry, sir. Chantel sees Rob come out and doesn't recognize him. All she knows is that someone is wearing a mask of a cat. Chantel, what are we doing here and how strong are those drinks? Because clearly Rob is wearing a wolf mask, Chantel, not a cat. Where are you getting cat from? I mean, maybe it's hard to see clearly out of her own mask. Child, I don't know. Anywho, Rob is checking out his competition amongst the other men and says, the pressure is on. We see someone mingling with the non-90 Day singles wearing what looks like an owl mask. Oh Lord, am I sounding like Chantel here? Because I think it's an owl. It looks like an owl. It has feathers all over the front of it, kind of like an owl. Anyway, I immediately knew it was Tim. When I heard his voice and I saw the back of his head and saw that hair, I knew it was Tim behind that mask. Rob sits down next to Chantel because he says he's not the mingling type. So now that Catman Rob is sitting next to Chantel, she can now see that his mask is indeed that of a wolf. She says the mask alleviates some of the pressure, and she's just there sitting next to Wolfman with the nice eyes, and it's all good. Rob does have some very beautiful eyes, but that's about it, child, as far as I'm concerned. He's just not my type. He's just not my type. But he is nice looking. Now, you all know everyone is masked up, but these masks are only covering the top part of people's faces. I'm wondering how you can be sitting next to someone on the 90-day cast, how you can hear their voice and see most of their face and still not know who the hell these people are. So we get a little glimpse of Tim's story. Tim is 44 from Charlotte, North Carolina, and he goes to sit on a different couch. He's chatting it up with some 24-year-old with a puppy. When he figures out this woman is 20 years his junior, he quickly excuses himself to go to the restroom. We see him throwing some water on his face, and he tells us that this is his first ever singles retreat. The only physical trait he's stuck on is a woman with long, straight, dark hair. He's not a butt or a boob guy. He's a hair guy. And well, y'all, that's just his thing. He thinks that people will perceive it to be a little strange, but it's all good. We all have our things, right? We all have our shticks, and that's his. He wants a normal relationship. His last relationship with his ex-girlfriend, Jennifer, was very toxic. So we then see a flashback scene of Jennifer and Tim on 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. We see them talking to each other on a video call before they had met in person. We see their first kiss after they finally do meet in person. We see them arguing because he gifted her a ring that he previously gifted his ex-wife, Veronica, who was also a cast member of the 90 Day universe. And then we see them arguing because of Tim's lack of intimacy in the bedroom. Tim says his heart was broken. He didn't realize it at the time, and he doesn't want to go through that again. However, he's 44 and he has a fear of dying alone. So he's putting himself back out there. Before he leaves his restroom, y'all, though, he gives himself a little pep talk and he says, "Okay, Tim, let's get back out there and pretend to like people." Now, y'all, if you've seen Tim in his previous seasons, you know Tim is not very social. I would even venture to say he's a little socially awkward. And I'm not judging that. I'm socially awkward too. I'm somewhat of an extroverted introvert, meaning I can put myself out there if I have to. And I don't shy away from meeting new people, but when I don't want to be bothered, child, I just don't want to be bothered. And maybe that's why I'm still single. Our next 90-day single is Courtney. She's 34 from Orlando, Florida, and we see her ordering a drink at the bar. She lifts up her mask to take a shot, and she says that most people think she's dumb. She's got blonde hair, blue eyes, and when you hear her speak, well, you can tell why people may make that assumption about her, but she says that actually works to her advantage. When people ask her to do something, she can play the dumb blonde card, but you can never judge a book by its cover, right? She tells us she has a degree in finance with a minor in beer pong. Courtney, honey, that doesn't really help your case here. Courtney has been unlucky in the love department, and she recently found out the man she was planning on marrying was a liar. He said he'd never been married and didn't have any kids, but it turns out this man had 2 ex-wives, not just one, and a total of 4 children, y'all. She's ready to enlist the help of the dating coaches because clearly her dating intuition is a little bit off. We get Courtney's flashback scenes from her time on the 90 Day Fiancé show with her ex Antonio. We see them making out on the street. We see them in a restaurant eating while Antonio was checking out the waitress's butt. We see her crying because she was in his country, Spain, feeling lonely, and him responding with, "Don't drink wine anymore, please." Then we see her in a new relationship during quarantine with Andy, and they're arguing. She's saying she's not used to people yelling at her. Then we see them break up. Courtney says her mom believes her expectations are way too high, but all she wants is for someone to not cheat on her, not to lie to her, and to pay her bills. Is that too much for a girl to ask, y'all? She wasn't really feeling anybody at the mixer, but then she looks across the room and she spots Usman and thinks, oh my God, I know who that is. And you guys, the person that she spots, that she recognizes, is Usman. Now, she says she went on vacation with Usman while she was in Istanbul and even spent a few nights with him there. She thought they could be the perfect couple, but once the vacation was over, he ghosted her. So next, this mysterious woman saunters into the mixer with this long black hair, wearing a red dress, grabbing everyone's attention. The men, the women, they were all staring, y'all. Rob is blown away and he thinks, who is this girl? Tiffany sees her and immediately believes she knows who this mystery woman is. Usman calls her walk majestic, says it's super hot, and now he too wants to know who this woman is. So she removes her mask just to the camera, and y'all, it's Jennifer. It's Tim's ex, Jennifer. So Jennifer is 32 years old from Colombia, and Jennifer is ready to meet someone special who ignites the spark within her. She's anxious to see who all of these people are behind these masks, and she tells us that she's very independent and that people should do whatever they want, however they want, as long as it's consensual. Y'all, don't we love that word, consent? Consent is a beautiful word, ain't it? Jennifer wants to be free like an uncaged bird and wants a man who can keep up with her honey. She has yet to find that. So we get her flashback scenes with Tim. We see them meeting at the airport for the first time. We see her going through Tim's phone, seeing he has another woman saved as Mommy. Then her throwing a drink in his face, getting up and walking away. Then we see her with Jesse during their time on 90 Days the Single Life. And Jesse, y'all, is the ex of Darcy. Darcy and Stacy Darcy. They're all a part of the 90 Day franchise. We see Jennifer and Jesse in bed making out. We see her slapping Jesse across the face for asking her if another man paid her to sleep with him. We see her crying, saying that she deserves someone who looks at her as the person she is. Wow, what a flashback. She's been single for 2 years, and this is her first attempt at dating since her last relationship. Now, she's aware that there are other 90 Day cast members there as well, and she's interested to see how they'll all interact with the non-90 Day singles. So Chantel is still caught up on all of the different masks that people are wearing, y'all. She's fixated on these different animals on these masks. Rob starts chit-chatting with a tall woman in an orange dress named Elise from Miami. Rob asks Elise if she's a party girl, and she says, well, yes, but I don't want to party anymore. Now, Elise is one of the non-90 Day singles, just so that y'all know. Keep an eye out for Elise because she seems a little spicy. So while all of that is going down, we see none other than Colt walking through the crowd, sticking out like a sore thumb, y'all. He looks awkward as hell. Colt is 39 from Las Vegas, Nevada, and he feels out of his element with all of the hot guys and hot girls at this mixer. And Colt looks like he's out of his element as well. You sure do, Colt. Colt describes himself as the poor man's nerd. He didn't talk to a girl until he was 19 years old, and he's been through it with several different women during his time on 90 Day Fiancé. So we get his flashback montage, and we see him waiting at the airport to pick up his then fiancée, Larissa. She's asking where her flowers are. He says he has none. Then we see Colt and Larissa get married. We see Larissa arguing with Colt's friend and his mother, Miss Debbie. Then we see Larissa throwing her wedding ring at Colt. We see him with the woman he dated after Larissa, Jessica, at a bar in Mexico, hugging. Then we see Jessica marching up to Colt's hotel room, throwing her stiletto heel at him, honey, calling him a liar because he told Jessica he and another woman named Vanessa, who he had a little fling with, were done and that they weren't even talking. However, Jessica found out that Colt still had been in communication with Vanessa, not just once, not just twice, but every single day. Then we see Colt with the woman he eventually married, Vanessa. We see Colt proposing to Vanessa at the dock. We see them during 90-day diaries, and Vanessa is telling Colt that this was not what she signed up for. And he's telling her, I thought we were going to get divorced when you left the house. And Vanessa is sitting there silent, just looking at him. So at this point, Colt is recently divorced. He's in between jobs and in between homes. He's at a low point in his life, but he says, F it. He's going for love again. And the only thing he wants to avoid is looking stupid in front of everybody, but he's pretty sure he's going to end up embarrassing himself at some point. Rob is still talking to Elise, asking her if she likes bad boys, to which she says she does. And she also likes to be told what to do. So now Rob is very intrigued. Tiffany goes to mingle with Usman and some non-90-day singles, and she introduces herself to the man she's dubbed P-Stash. She says she initially imagined meeting a nice, tall, dark, and handsome stranger with full lips. But once she saw P-Stash, honey, it was a wrap. Now, P-Stash is tall, but out of all of the other physical characteristics Tiffany named off, tall is really the only one that P-Stash possesses, okay? Some people may find him handsome. He's all right to me. And he certainly does not have full lips. But what he does have at this point is Tiffany's full attention. Courtney walks over to Usman. She stands next to him and asks, have we met before? And he's like, I don't know, have we? She gives us a little bit more detail about how she and Usman linked up initially. She was in Istanbul for a month. He was following her stories on social media. He hit her up in her DMs, said he was going to be there, and asked if she wanted to hang out. She wasn't quite sure what his intentions were going to be at that time, so they went ahead and met. She liked him, and she wondered if she could date him. After that trip, she wasn't sure how he felt since he ghosted her, but now she's wondering if this is kismet, y'all. If this is fate bringing her and her man back together. They spent a week together in Turkey, but now he's here pretending he doesn't know her. She feels unsure, and he tells her, maybe we met in your dreams. What a line. He says he's just messing with her, but he doesn't think she gets that. At this point in the night, dating coaches Nick and Tanya come out to introduce themselves to all of the singles. Combined, both Nick and Tanya have over 2 decades of dating coach experience. And Nick then introduces everyone to Johanna, the event coordinator that Rob was going so goo gaga over when he first checked in. Nick tells everyone they have planned several events and dates that everyone will participate in during their time at this dating retreat. Courtney says she had just planned on getting white girl wasted the whole time, but she's ready to receive some help from these coaches. Tanya tells all of the men to line up on one side of the room and for the ladies to line up on the other side. And then she instructs everyone to remove their mask, and the mask will remain off for the remainder of this event. So y'all, everyone removes their mask. And Tim is looking like what in the ever-loving hell? Out of all of the people that could be here, why in the world is Jennifer here? One of the singles says, oh, this is going to be fun. And Tim is like, yeah, an effing blast. Y'all, that is the end of this review. And I am breaking this up into parts 1 and parts 2 because this episode was 2 hours long. And I didn't want to bog y'all down with a review that was like an hour and a half long. So I am breaking this up in 2 parts. This is part 1. Part 2 will be out tomorrow. So make sure that you come back and check that out. But y'all, comment down below. Let me know if you are familiar with these cast members from the 90 Day Fiancé universe. I have been watching 90 Day Fiancé pretty much since its inception, with the exception of season 1. And I know that Courtney appeared on season 1, so I'm not quite familiar with her, but I am anxious to get to know her on this show. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all thought of this episode if you watched it, and let me know what you think of this review. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It is a free and easy way to support this channel and its growth. And until next time, y'all, stay safe, stay blessed, and don't forget to tell someone that you love them today, even if you only tell yourself. Love y'all. Peace.